Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome. Welcome to this place where, challenged by our liberating faith, we discover deeper spiritual meanings, nurture loving community, cultivate courageous connections, and partner in the work of justice. Welcome to those here in this room and those watching beyond, whether now or another time. I'm Reverend Amanda Weatherspoon, the settled minister of this congregation, and what a joy it is to be here this morning, along with our guest preacher, Reverend Rosemary Bray McNatt, who is the president of Starr King School for the ministry. Let's warmly welcome Rosemary. And not only is she the president of Starr King School for the ministry, she's one of my former mentors. And also, I went to Starr King School for the ministry, so let's be on our best behavior. If you're wanting to know more about us or ways to get involved, you can reach out to our Director of Member Relations, Kelly Green. We have large print orders of service, personal hearing assistance devices, and an elevator right outside. There's also a hearing loop in our alternate worship space downstairs. And for those of all ages, we have coloring pages and fidgets. Please take good care of your mind, body, and spirit during this time together. So just a couple of announcements that I'd like to highlight this morning. Please be on the lookout in your weekly currents for a full listing of events, activities, and announcements. A couple of things. Please join us today after the service in Bernstein for a presentation on the future of ministry with Reverend Rosemary, myself, and Jessica Cloud, who's the Vice President of Advancement at Starr King. Refreshments will be provided, and all are greatly encouraged to come. Also, the Sunday morning volunteer training that we had to reschedule, it's been moved to Monday, October 21st in the evening. It'll be held on Zoom, so please reach out to Kelly for more information. What a blessing it is to be here with one another during this time of sacred transformation as we wind our way towards community. And no matter how flawed or imperfect, friends, this is the day that we have made, that has been made for us and made by us. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside, and back again. From here to there, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation, from what we were and what we are to what we can be. These words from Arlene Goff capture so beautifully what it means to be a part of a faith community such as ours. One where we come together to practice and explore what it means to be fully human right here and right now. This morning, we continue deepening into our monthly theme for worship, religious education, and congregational life, which is thresholds. Last week, we explored imagination as a threshold to reaching beyond the edge and being limitless. And today, we welcome Rosemary Bray McNatt to share a good word with us. A little bit about Rosemary. Currently, she's the president of Starr King School for the Ministry, which is a multi-religious institution of lifelong learning that shapes and that trains the leaders of our faith. And like I said before, that's where I attended seminary almost a decade ago. Prior to Starr King, she was the senior minister for the Fourth Universalist Society in New York City for 13 years. And before that, she was an editor at the New York Times Book Review. She's authored books, she's written columns, y'all. She's done a little bit of everything. And what a joy it is to have her here with us this morning. So today, we light this chalice for all the thresholds, the ones known and unknown, the ones we've crossed so many times, and the ones that wait for us still. Come, let us worship together. And as we move into yet another threshold during this time, I want to invite you to rise and body your spirit and turn and greet your neighbor. From the time I was 14 years old, I had one goal and one goal only. I wanted to be a therapist. I came to this desired profession for a myriad of reasons, But when I found out about it, when I realized that that's what I wanted to do, I held to it with all of my might. From that time on, you couldn't have told me that there was anything else that I would end up doing. And so years later, in my early 20s, I was well on that path. I was a social worker, and the whole young social worker trope applied to me. Long hours, pay that didn't necessarily match up, all of it. And I loved it. It shaped me, and I was learning so much. But something else was budding during that time in my life. I was falling madly in love with this deeply quirky, hard to define, little big faith of Unitarian Universalism. I was deeply involved in my church, giving of my time, showing up, and eventually, as you can imagine, I was scouted to serve on the board of trustees, the first board of any sort of which I ever served. I had so much to learn, so much to understand about it, and for a while, I kept asking myself, who is this Robert guy, and why do we care about his rules of order? I still ask myself that from time to time. It was after a fateful board meeting that my minister, Reverend Jake Morrill, who some of you met over this summer, he sent me an email saying something to the effect of, I see a minister in you. He said, while you're looking at grad schools, maybe check out seminary. And he then proceeded to raise some money for me to fly across the country to California and visit with Starr King School for the Ministry in Berkeley. I didn't really know what would become of all of it. I mean, I'd had this goal for so long, I didn't see myself turning away from it. But about 6 months later, I got rid of most of my stuff, kissed my friends and family goodbye, and arrived in San Francisco with 2 suitcases and a flower in my hair, as the song says. A couple of weeks later, I found myself being officially welcomed into Starr King School for the Ministry through one of our most beloved traditions, the threshold ceremony. This was a year before Rosemary joined us. Now, I don't remember much of what was said during the ceremony or even much of what it entailed, but I have an ever-permeating image of darkness lit by candles. I have everlasting images of the circle of us new students surrounded by fellow seasoned students, faculty, and staff with blessings and promises and assurances that wherever it was that we were going, we'd get there together. A song that we sang during the threshold ceremony that we love at Starr King was Come, Come, Whoever You Are, which we sang just last week. And to this day, when I hear it, I think of my years as a seminary student, as imperfect as those years were. The times that were tough or overwhelming, getting all my credits, writing all those papers, reading all those books, jumping through all those hoops, navigating the complexities of life with fellow wanderers and worshipers and lovers of leaving. The invitation to come yet again, whoever you are, it still rings in my heart. The other song that we sang that day comes from the words of the former president of Starr King, Dr. Rebecca Parker. And the lyrics read, there is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we know. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. And as we crossed that threshold into education and learning, that threshold into becoming many theologians and scholars, I held those words with me. And then I sang that same love on to the next group of new students the following year and the year after that. And what I know now is that that threshold never really ended. It wasn't a static, one-time thing, but something created long before us that will live through us and past us all. And many years later, those words rang in my heart when I crossed this threshold into this room on the day you all called me to be your settled minister. That living tradition, it will always be a threshold. And that threshold, it'll change and transform and expand and grow just as we do and just as we are. May the thresholds in each of our lives carry us right to that love that will forever hold us wherever we are in life and whoever we are becoming. May it be so. Now, won't you please join me in our hymn of reflection from your seats, filled with loving kindness.
So you can actually see me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Before I begin, I want to bring greetings to you all from the faculty, staff, and students at Starr King School for the Ministry, our Unitarian and Universalist and multi-religious seminary in Oakland, California. It's a delight to be with you this morning, and it's especially delightful to be welcomed by your new minister and my dear colleague, Reverend Amanda. Thank you so much for hosting us. For the 14 years that I served in the parish, I loved Sundays. I loved them because it was the day that my people and I were all together, even when we had not seen each other all week. It was the day I saw the folks I'd been worrying about, the day I met the people I'd never seen before, the day I'd welcome back the folks who'd been gone a long time, and greet the folks who were just passing through, but wanted the touchstone of a UU home somewhere in the midst of their journey. Every Sunday was a kind of threshold into the next week and the work ahead, a way of looking ahead to what came next. Some thresholds mark moments of import, the start of celebrations or reflections, the beginning of adventures. You have already crossed beyond the threshold into your next great adventure, the adventure of ministry between and among you and Reverend Amanda. And it's especially lovely that I get to join you just beyond this first threshold and in the middle of Ministry Appreciation Month. In fact, in many traditional church communities, today is Clergy Appreciation Day. So yay! Having said that, we are not a traditional church community. It is not that we don't have a sense of appreciation for those of us who have chosen ordination. I have rarely felt unappreciated as a UU minister. But we are a people who believe in what the Unitarian Universalist theologian James Luther Adams called the priesthood and prophethood of all believers. We are a people who believe in a shared ministry, a partnership among those who are part of each community of faith. We who are liberal religious people made a big decision when we became part of this faith. We decided to immerse ourselves in a love story about this world and its people, a love story that focused on the kind of person each of us longs to be, and a love story focused on the kind of world we want to live in. We made a commitment and a decision not to some hidebound doctrine, not to some list of terrible things that would happen to us if we broke a set of rules that made no sense. No. We wandered by or walked over or ran across this particular threshold. And on the other side was this love story about the world and its people that undergirds all that we do. Here in our congregations, we undertake the down and dirty work of love, following along with the roller coaster quality that comes with deep commitment. There's a lot about congregational life that is meant to witness to an enduring faithfulness, a clear-eyed sense of what we agree to embrace, not just the warm fuzzies of good feelings, but the harder, more difficult parts. If we are serious about tending to the love we have found and that we bear, we are likely to be called into rough places. When we join a congregation, when we decide to become part of a community of faith, we are actually agreeing to the growing into and the living out of a greater love than we knew we had within us. It doesn't start that way. But what we are doing, whether or not we fully understood it at the time, is making a covenantal promise to live out that love in a community of mutual choice. We pledge to one another the very best we have within us. We join forces and set out on a journey together, determined to build communities of memory and resistance and hope that can change the entire world. Over the weeks and the months and the years, we wrestle with the sacred and the profane. We sometimes diminish and disappoint and hurt each other. And then, if we are lucky, we begin again in love. And what we lose in lofty and starry-eyed promise, we gain in the sweet groundedness of ordinary life, well lived, and holy work, well done, with faithful companions on the journey. And the world changes, more slowly than we care to know, but in ways more likely than we think. We set down roots in our congregational home, but our branches spread far wider. We hear and answer our call to faith not only in our homes and in our places of work, But as we grow and change, we often respond directly to the rough places of this world. In small ways and large, some of us take up both our hopes and our fears, our dreams of beloved community and our anger at injustice. We choose to battle principalities and powers, even as we stake a claim for love and still more love. We choose to do the work of liberal faith in some of the places we are tempted to believe that even God has forgotten. We use all the tools at our disposal to strengthen us, the 7 principles that remind us of the values that matter to us, the 6 sources that remind us of how large our faith truly is. We refresh ourselves with new expressions of that timeless faith, opening the doors of our congregations and our hearts to those who resonate more deeply with different ways of telling a story we already know so well. We who have walked across this threshold are called to stand in the gap between what ought to be and what is. The struggles we undertake for justice and equity and compassion, for pluralism and generosity and transformation, these are often only partly successful. The pain we sometimes witness, sometimes the pain we remember, is enough to make the rocks cry out. We who have tested this faith at home and at work, in the sanctuary and in the streets, sometimes feel inadequate. Sometimes we wonder, who are we that we should stand here? Who are we to hear these stories? Who are we to hold this burden? Who are we to cry these tears? But once you have moved beyond the threshold, once you have made the liberal religious decision, once you know who it is you want to become, who are you not to stand? Who are you not to listen, to weep, to struggle? Who are you not to bear burdens? All around us, hope may seem dead, and peace an illusion, and fear may seek us out to put us in a chokehold. And yet, we know that new seasons of possibility and promise are being born even now in the hearts of others because of our shared ministries, because of our very different, sometimes unregulated, messy, and passionate love for creation and all the created world. Because just on the other side of the threshold that brought us here, there is holy work still to be done. Part of our collective story, part of the living tradition in which we live and in which we find our place. May it be so. Amen.
Wow, this actually makes my job easier. Good morning, and thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time to talk to you about pledging. And while I know this is a pledge season for only some of you, I hope that what I have to say will resonate with all of you. My name is David Flynn. My pronouns are he, him. I'm on the stewardship team, and I have counted myself a member of this vibrant, complicated, and passionate community for quite some time now. I want you to know that while I talk, it's fine if you think about something else. No, not about your grocery list or dinner tonight. Think about why you participate in this community through streaming services, in person on Sundays or Fridays or any other day of the week that you might find yourself connecting with friends, acquaintances, and people who affirm and challenge the beliefs and ideas that are important to you. Maybe these pictures will help jog your memory a little bit. For me, one of the greatest offerings the UUCC brings is an exceptional and nurturing environment for our youth. From spirit play wondering questions for our youngest to thoughtful and engaging topics for our middle and high schoolers, we support our youth and help them grow. Our coming of age program gives teens a framework and challenges them to give deep thought to core personal beliefs and values that will grow and evolve with them for the rest of their lives. And the Our Whole Lives program is, bar none, the best human sexuality and holistic program to teach our youth how to bring their UU values into every aspect of their lives and their relationships, both with themselves and with others. So, whether it is our Sunday services, our amazing music program, thank you, John, and all of you, our youth programming, our adult education programming, our family fun Fridays, our affinity groups, our potlucks, our community Sundays, our advocacy, our numerous social and community interactions. And folks, I could go on for quite some time here, but I'm pretty sure you're ready for me to be done. So the point is, whatever your reason for connection here, whatever keeps you coming back, it happens because of three things. First, the dedication and support of staff and volunteers who contribute countless hours to our programming. Second, the participation of so many of you in our vibrant community. And third, and this is a big one, your money. Without your financial support, Reverend Amanda could not have joined us this year. Without your financial support, our youth would not have Paula and others on staff to create and guide our robust CYRE programming. Without your financial support, the music would go quiet and that beautiful organ back there would sit silent. Without your financial support, we would not have adult programming, community Sundays, potlucks. The streaming video would stop. The lights would quite literally go out, and we would be all left here without a spiritual community to call home. It is often said that one way to judge your priorities is to look at your checkbook. So please, as you consider your pledge this year, think about why you come here. Think about why other people come here. And think about how you can support a community that so profoundly supports you, supports all of us. Thank you. And now we will have the offering, and while the offering is collected, you are invited to come forward and light a candle, honoring a milestone, a concern, or a celebration.
When we gather here each week, we come with a whole host of gifts and burdens, joys and concerns in our hearts. And this is a place where we can bring all of that, knowing that it will be held with love and care. Our flowers this morning, which aren't in here but are over across the hall, they're donated from yesterday's memorial service, the Celebration of Life for Mimi Willem, where we reflected and remembered and gave thanks for a life well lived. This morning, we celebrate with Tim Songer and Martha Neasley, who both welcomed their first grandchildren this past week. Martin and Ashley Hill have a boy named Odin, and Dylan and Taylor Songer have a girl named Clementine. All are going well. Co-grandparents, I guess, if you will. Another joy this morning is that Alex Hathaway recently earned her Girl Scouts Bronze Award. Her project involved learning about recycling in Mecklenburg County and identifying solutions to encourage recycling at her community pool. May we all be so bold and innovative. Congratulations. Of course, we still have eyes and hearts on the unfolding aftermath of both Hurricane Helene and Milton. To all those finally getting back into their homes, to those rebuilding, to those still without power and resources, we lift our hearts. And to all of the service workers giving their all to restore power and water, we give thanks. And now, please join me in a moment of silence as we honor all the concerns and joys in our lives, the ones shared and the ones held only in our hearts.
Ignore the slide. Please join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Gracious Spirit of all life, God of many names and one abundant love. The world is so big and needs are so great, and sometimes we feel so small, sometimes even helpless. Spirit, remind us that we are mighty in all the ways that matter. We are strong in our faith. We are resilient in our hopes. We are joyful in our work for justice and peace. Grant us eyes to see and ears to hear the needs around us. Give us the courage to step out beyond the threshold of our own doubt and into the power of love in action. We ask these things in the name of all that is holy. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be.
I now invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, the lyrics will be on the screen. your spirit and read with me the closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. You may be seated.